Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ask Muso podcast, brought to you by Yellow Music. I've got someone here that I haven't seen in a long while, but I've been keen to catch up with ever since I sort of decided to bring things back for season 4. I've got the blonde man with the guitar. I've got Often Mackay across from me. Say g'day, mate, and welcome to my home. Welcome to the Ask Muso podcast, and kick us off.
G'day, thanks for having me, and thanks for saying my last name correctly. It's very rare that people say my last name correctly. I get Mackay all the time.
Maybe it's a Queensland thing.
I get Mackay or Mackay. I rarely get Mackay. Dude, I'm no kidding. No kidding.
Dude, maybe it's a Queensland thing that I just instinctively think.
But it's it's happened in Queensland. I get Mackay. I'm like, there is a place in Queensland that is Mackay, and it's spelled the exact same.
Exactly.
But thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh, sweet. Well, we can wrap it up. This was a great episode. Thanks for catching up. So yeah, well, why are you up here? So tell me about the tour. Let's kick off. Let's start there. What are you doing up on the sunny coast at the minute? And
yeah, bro. So I've got a show tomorrow night. So probably not tomorrow night by the time this thing comes out. But yeah, I got a show tomorrow night at the Imperial Hotel in Yamundi. And it's the second show on my first ever Australian regional tour, which is exciting, scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything in between, all the emotions. It's a funny thing going to the regions, I feel like, especially the genre of music that I sort of started in is not necessarily something that's ideally listened to outside of coastal towns. So for me, it's it's going to places that I haven't been before and testing the waters. And this is kind of as I said to you before, a reset tour. It's for the first time I'm hitting these places and I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I might sell 5 tickets in a place, but if I'm selling 5 tickets and people are coming out and enjoying the music, that's it's a start.
5 people that are
it's
great
5
night.
people that are coming. Yeah. But yeah, it feels good. This is the second show on the tour, and I've got, I think it's 16 shows on this tour, so it's a pretty big run. But yeah, just taking some time. It's just me in the van, and
that was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This is where we've got a big difference here. It's just you. It's just you.
It's just me.
What was the thought behind that? Was it a logistics thing? Was it back to that reset thing we discussed earlier, where you basically wanted to just be in control of yourself more? Or is that what it came from? Or
I just love making money.
That was going to be the third option.
No. In all honesty, I've done a bunch of solo tours before. I sort of started out as a solo acoustic folk artist.
That's how I first saw you. That's
sure. And I kind of brought a band into the mix since then. But this tour was kind of for me I wanted to. It's not promoting a song. It's quite literally called the Live and Acoustic Tour. And I wanted to take it back to the way that I used to tour, just me in a van traveling around coastlines, and we're going all the way up to Darwin, down to Victoria. But yeah, I love road tripping, and for me, that's the best part of touring is the in between the shows.
Which is so much of it anyway. It's the majority
so
of it.
So much of it for sure. And it's, obviously I love playing shows so much, but I love surfing. I love, catching up with my mates. I've got so many different friend groups around the country. And when I'm flying, I don't really get to catch up all that much with my mates. So it's nice. I got a little bit of time.
Yeah, because you're in between deadlines, flights, this thing, that next thing, that. Yeah. Whereas just to be you know what, you were saying earlier that you gave yourself a little bit of time between New South Wales and Queensland rather than just zoom up there and then we're straight into it.
Sure.
Give yourself a bit of a chance.
Yeah.
And I like that because as you said, most of it is not the playing. As much as the playing is great, being able to take some time for yourself is so good for the mental health in between shows.
Absolutely, man.
Because it's such a strange experience for anyone who's not done what we do and performing and stuff. It's such a strange experience. It takes a lot out of you.
I think it's a strange experience even when you've done it a lot. Coming back into it even after having a little bit of time off or, not touring for a little while, it's you forget what it's like. And, it was so funny, man. I had my mum on the road last year. She drove up with me up the coast and was staying in hotels, and then she flew back. She was on the road with me for 1 week and she goes, "I'm so tired." And I'm like, welcome to my life. Welcome to my life. But yeah, I think it's, taking the time, and it's the first time I've really done it on this tour is just giving myself space, and we purposely booked the shows kind of we'll do 2 or 3 shows a week, but on the weeks off, I've got so much time in between to just travel and take days, and, I'm not having to drive 8 hours every single day and play a show sort of thing. There's one weekend where I think I'm playing in Bathurst, Canberra, Ballarat and Bendigo, and then it's 8 hours drive between shows. But that's the only weekend that it's that, and we just couldn't help that.
It just scheduling, happen,
but it's good, man. This regional tour, I'm going to new places and meeting new people, and I've done a bunch of supports in a couple of these regional places. So we just wanted to go back and try it out, and do something a little bit different for me and for the crowd as well.
Yeah, because it keeps things fresh for you. Because the big thing that with the touring side of things, especially when you've only got yourself, like the sort of the negative side or the opposing side is you've only got yourself. There's a lot of you time. You got to figure out a way to keep it fresh and things, and to be able to bring that for you, which means that having those breaks in between is great because you get that chance to reset and go, sweet, now I'm going to this place and I'm gonna do it. But it also gives you an opportunity to just try new things without having to have the worry of I can't really try that brand new because I haven't really chatted about it with the guys. Yeah, you can just be like, you know what, I think I'm going to give this a shot. And man, I've been here before, so let's explore.
And it's happening a lot with songs. Like I've been writing so much. I took sort of the first 6 months off this year, just for some personal reasons, which we'll get into a little later. But yeah, it's been nice. I've just been working on so much music and been in such a creative zone without like the stress of having to worry about like being somewhere to play a show and sort of, you know, being in like musician sort of like performance.
Yeah. Mode.
Sort of mode. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it's just been nice to just fully immerse myself in creating music and writing songs. And that's what you were saying. Like I can get up there and I can just play a brand new song that like I don't have to worry about the band doesn't know it. Like, it's me. It's just me. And I played a couple of brand new songs last week and I'm planning to do it through the tour. I'm kind of just like switching between some like new material that I've got just to see like, you know, where that hits, that'll hit there. And, you know, some nights, some songs might work and others that won't. Like, but yeah, I'm just testing the waters and I love doing that on tours. Because I like road testing a lot of my songs before I put them out. Yeah, that's
literally it's the best way of getting like instant feedback because like how often do you get what an open mic's for? Comedians do that. You know, I've been chatting about comedians and the sort of parallels between us and them a lot this season because the idea of you got to throw it out, see what happens. Like you don't know unless you know.
Well, I mean, you got to throw it out at some point. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, over the past couple of years, I've kind of written so many songs before, like, you know, and performed them before I've released them, sort of thing, and it's been so fun to just, you know, by the time the song's out, people are like, fuck. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here. Sorry.
You're like, I've ruined it. I've ruined it. No.
Take two. Yeah, by the time I get to the point where I'm like releasing a song, like, you know, there's people messaging me going, where's that song? Like, where can I find this song? Like, and I'm like, it's not out yet, but it'll be out in, you know, August or something like that. And they're like, I'm really keen for it. Because I think, like, for me at least, it's, you know, I'll listen to an artist online and it's not until sometimes that I go to their shows and someone is forced to physically sit there or stand there through a full song and immerse themselves in it. And it's the environment, it's the way that it impacts the people around them. It's kind of an experience. And I feel like there's a difference between listening to a song online and experiencing it, because I find, like, you know, I'll go to a music festival, right? To put this into perspective, and there'll be a bunch of artists in the lineup that I have no idea about, and I might chuck a playlist on from that festival or a couple of the artist's top songs to see if I can really get into it, and I just don't get into it. My mates force me to go to the show, and then I listen to the same song after the festival. I'm like, what? Like, why does this sound so different? Why does this feel so different? And it's almost like, I think because it becomes an experience rather than just like listening to a piece of art.
Yeah, it's like and also just the passive, the possibilities of passive hearing and listening. Yeah. And like being a part of it. Yeah. And that's, I think, something that when I've discussed things with people about, what do you think about the music scene and playing shows? And obviously you're going literally all the way to the top. I didn't know you even going to the top. So that's sick. And having all those things there, people do have a longing to have that experience. Because one thing that when I'm playing shows with Del, he always mentions is, no one will ever see this show again. You can't see this show again.
Absolutely.
So the show that you're going to do at the Imperial is the only one of its kind. Yeah. And insert person, he gets to be there. Yeah. And that's a super cool thing that's so unique to what we do, our craft.
And I like the idea, especially with, like, you know, the way that the world is right now with, especially the music industry. Like, I think it's very sort of, you know, content short-lived and you know, it's quick bites and everyone wants, like,
you got to just figure, how am I going to keep it in someone's head so they don't forget me?
People are still enjoying shows, but they're not understanding that they are forced to be there through a whole hour set of an artist, and they enjoy it because, like, you know, you remove yourself from there's no shuffle button at a show. There's no For You page. Yeah. There's no swiping. Like, it's, you know, you're there for the stories and the experience. And I think people, like, you know, deep down, they really still crave that.
Absolutely. Especially when you get someone like yourself that is a really good storyteller. and being stripped back.
Thank you.
You have more of a one-to-one connection with people like that. Like, I remember when you were doing stuff with the band, what feels like ages ago now, but when you're doing stuff with the band and doing shows and then saying, oh, I'm going to play this song and it's just going to be me, the band, it's going to take a minute, and doing those songs about those tracks that really meant something to you. And that was really moving. Like, even when you just put up that video, it was really moving to watch. But then I can imagine that if you were there having like big band, drums, Cody's doing this and you got Jason Daniels doing lead parts, that's sick. And then, hey guys, it's actually just me. Suddenly it's like, oh, I'm so in for this.
Yeah.
And you can't help but really be immersed in that and really like, I'm really present now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, it's the whole dynamic of that show is incredible. Like, being able to have the band up and have the dynamic of a band there, but also being able to strip it back and play it solo. And, that's what I like about like this tour, but that's what I like about, playing solo is like I get to strip it right back to the way that the songs were initially written. It's just me and a guitar or a couple of mates and a guitar. Like, we're never really writing songs with a full band. I haven't up until this point, sort of thing. But it's always with that in mind that, like, the production's going to get bigger or this is going to go here. We're going to add drums here. But yeah, it's always sort of, myself or me and my mates with like acoustic guitars or piano. It's always very sort of stripped back. So it's nice to, especially with this tour, I'm like, oh, I remember that feeling that I had when I first wrote this song, because like I'm playing it exactly the way that I was playing it in my van or in my bedroom
and you get to sort of be more than just an audience. You get to almost be like a fly on the wall for
exactly.
that more experience.
Yeah, and it happens every now and then that I'm like, I get that, that little buzz feeling back of like I might sing like one of my lyrics that, I haven't really like, I've obviously been singing every single night, but like I don't really think about sometimes, and I might like have a bit of a thought process about that and go, oh, yeah, I remember when I was like stoked that I wrote that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you just mentioned about writing with mates and stuff. You're up in Mullaney at the minute, or you at the moment you're doing some stuff in Mullaney with some mates, doing some writing and just basically sitting yourself in a very nice little hideaway. Yeah. Tell me about that. What's the idea behind that?
Yeah, so we left this morning. We've been up there for the past 3 days, and we just kind of, we rarely ever get away. I feel like me and my mates who are musicians, we're always working. We're always seeing each other at gigs and stuff. And it's like,
true.
Man, we never, it's rare that we even get to catch up because we're kind of always like on the road, just crossing over, and we might see each other for one day for coffee or
you
surf.
See each other, like you pass each other.
Yeah. But we kind of set aside some time to go up and just get away and remove ourselves and like, no phones, just like notebooks and guitars, and to just go and see what come of it and just have a bit of an environment change. We got up in the mountains and it was bloody gorgeous. And man, we wrote about 7 songs in 2 days, which was crazy. Like crazy. We were just we were in a roll.
Yeah, when it's just happening and you're in that environment.
Yeah. It was wild. Like we started with a bit of a muck around song. And I was like, oh, boys, let's just like write this thing. We were just kind of having a joke around, and then I was like, yeah, it might just break the ice, and it did. And we've written some pretty profound songs in the past 2 days, like, just about life and relationships and relationships with yourself and sort of experiences.
I feel like I've noticed a theme with music that maybe I'm just involved in, or people that I've had the pleasure of chatting with. They're writing those sorts of things. They're writing that self-reflection, that positivity, that introspection, romance and things comes into it, but rather than just like, oh, I wrote another love song banger, it's like, oh, I wrote about a time in my life or what I'm sort of seeing now, bit bigger picture and things like that. And one song that of yours that sticks in my head is a song you wrote about your dad. And as someone that also has a very strong relationship with my dad and how he supported what we do and our move up to Queensland and how that all sort of came to be. As part of that, I really related to that. So if you tell me a little bit more about that track, and for those who haven't heard it, go a little bit into that one for us.
Yeah, it was interesting. That song was sort of a big eye-opener for me. I feel like even still up until this point, up until the past year, I feel like I've really been trying to find my sound. Yep. And, I've gone through doing the folky sort of stuff. I've gone through doing like indie rock, surf rock sort of stuff. And, I've never really landed on something that felt really, really like me. up until sort of the past year. And I wrote that song, and that song was sort of the first go that I wasn't trying to write a cracking chorus for a song, or I wasn't trying to write a hit sort of thing, and I wasn't like, oh, this is gonna get, is it good for radio or what?
It was just,
I put pen to paper. I didn't even know what I was writing about at the start. I played over a couple of chords, and I was like, oh, this song feels, a bit country to me, and that was new to me at the time. And I was like, I don't know what I want this song to be about, and I just started kind of word vomiting onto paper, and just started writing this song about my dad and, the sacrifices that he's sort of made for me to be able to like chase my dreams and do the things that I love to do, and, how much support he's shown me for my music over the years. And, one thing I do remember him saying to me, like back in the day, there was one time that he asked like, oh, do you think you should maybe like get a trade or have a backup plan? And I told him straight out, I was like, no, I don't want one. And he goes, okay, well, if you're going to do this, like just give it a good crack.
Yeah, no half.
And I've taken that like so on board, man. Is I do work very, very hard, like not trying to blow smoke up my own ass, but every single day I wake up and, music's the first thing I think about.
Yep.
And it's all I have ever wanted out of my life since I was 6. And for my parents to be so on board with that, I think they see how passionate I've been my whole life, and no one can really take that away from me. And
no, exactly, and you can see it. Like I think about it so many times, at tennis and things, Dad's getting fielding the questions about, oh, you must hate it because he plays so loud and all that, and he's like, he loves it. It's like, this is his Saturday hobby, mate. And like, even then, before we moved up here and stuff, I wanted to be in bands. I wanted to take it seriously. I wanted to see as far as it could go. I didn't necessarily know what that looked like, but I wanted to take it as far as it would go, whatever that means. And I've tried to do that and continue to do so now. And as part of that, Mum and Dad always used to go, no, none of this, oh, must you hate it because he's loud. He loves it. I can see that in his face, in how much he practices, how much he cares, those sorts of things. So, oh, it's loud, whatever. He's not playing at 10 p.m. He's not playing at midnight. He's not waking us up in the morning.
Sure.
But I can see he loves it. And that's where that really strong support.
Yeah, man. And I think just having that support, like my entire sort of life growing up, it's just sort of, it's shown me more and more the parent that I want to be when I finally, have kids. I'm like, I was fortunate enough to have this, and I have mates that aren't fortunate enough to have that. And I've seen it happen all too many times that, I might be telling this story on stage, and I have that many dads come up to me, man, after I tell that story and like play that song, and they're like, they either like, I've got such a strong relationship with my son, or I've had people come up and say that their sons have passed on, and that it's like brought back sort of such like fond memories of that relationship. But to the other extent that it's like, they say that they might not have a good relationship with their kids or with their dad, and how much that song's just become so universal.
Yeah, okay,
I think for me, I kind of wrote it about my old man, but now it's more so, it's taken on this feeling that it's like, not just for dads and sons, but for anyone who sort of feels like they're working their life away in some way or another. Like, I'm trying not to tell the exact speech that I tell on stage.
No, that's fair. That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, it's sort of about like, just realizing that there is more to life than just making money and going to pay a mortgage and supporting a family. And that's some people's dreams, and that's completely okay.
And that's so true. That's such a true thing.
And that's the thing. I try not to, if that is your dream, then that's incredible. But if you've got dreams and you feel like your job or your life is holding you back from those dreams, like I always say that I don't want to be, as morbid as it sounds, I don't want to be on my deathbed at the end of the day having regrets. And we only do get one go at life, and we all are going to die someday, as much as it sucks. But I think the most important thing that people can take from that song is like, just to live every single day.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you're not gonna see this show again. You're not gonna have today again as well.
No, that's very true. Yeah. I think taking those opportunities, some people get afraid about the fact that but in a lot of cases, the main person standing in your way is the guy in the mirror.
Sure.
But that can also be so liberating to be like, I'm fully in control of this many things, and your attitude and how you present yourself, and deciding that I'm going to be a doer, being enthusiastic about what you're going to do. If you're going to do something, be enthusiastic about it.
Exactly, man.
Really muck in and put your all in.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I want to sort of go from there and do a nasty segue over to a really big thing, which I feel like would have been a highlight for you. You were talking about your sound and not knowing necessarily what it is.
Yeah.
Down the country route, you supported a big tour. You did the Brad Cox tour.
I did.
A little while ago now.
Sure.
How did that all come to be, and how was that for you?
Man, that tour sort of come to be just through mutual friends. I was playing a bunch of shows on my Dancing Through the Fire tour back in 2022. Man, don't fire.
That's why I said it was ages ago.
Yeah, and I sort of had two bands. I've got like my boys up here that you know, but I also had a session band in New South Wales.
Yep.
And two of those boys played in Brad's band.
Okay.
And I sort of, we played a bunch of shows together and we're on the road together for a little bit and become pretty close, like just for those couple of weeks that we're on the road together. And I ended up just going to watch one of Coxie's shows and yeah, just had a beer with all the boys and kind of just got along.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it was a non sort of like forced thing. Like it just happened, and Coxie called me up one day, goes, "Hey man, I really dig your stuff. Like, do you want to come play some shows?" And yeah, at that point I wasn't, as I said, like I wasn't doing indie rock sort of stuff and a bit of folk. And yeah, I was like, of course, like I'm not going to say no.
No, say less. Yeah.
But yeah, then I was fortunate enough to play a couple of shows with him on the first run, and then he asked me back to do his entire regional run last year. But yeah, man, those shows opened my eyes to a completely new scene of music and a completely new genre. I sort of realised, I was shit scared diving into more so country music because I'm not a cowboy. I'm not from the country. I'm from Newcastle. I'm from a surf town in New South Wales,
exactly
right?
What you're saying. You originally wrote music that boys with surfboards were going to listen to,
exactly.
And now you're like, am I like qualified to do this? Can I talk?
And I think, that song that we're talking about before resonated with a lot of the crowd, and I think my stories resonate with a lot of the crowd because like I'm not necessarily from the country, but like I'm from a working class family, and working class is like something that is so. It's predominant around Australia. Like there is so many communities that are working class, and it's a majority of Australia, and I think unintentionally, like my songs just they just resonate with country crowds because they're hard workers and they love music and they live their own lives, and if I'm kind of just speaking about life. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, man.
Transferable enough. They're transferable enough that it's not like. It's not like there's this real niche thing where it's like, oh, I can't get in on that. But yeah, to actually talking about life, hard work, your experiences, a lot of those are going to be shared. Yeah. And you see that in the crowds that a lot of them are shared.
Exactly. And I've listened to country music for a long time. It's been one of my favorite genres. And, as I said, I've always sort of been, a little bit hesitant of diving into that more sound-wise because I thought I'd just get torn to pieces. But, I'm going in with a kind of a mindset that I'm not trying to be anything different than what I'm doing at the moment, just because I'm adding a couple of different sounds into my songs, and I've always said this to my friends and stuff that I might someday own a farm and own some land and stuff, but at the moment I'm not writing songs about the farm that I don't own or the truck that I don't have, or
that's what it boils down to.
And I think if I'm writing songs that are just coming from my heart and songs that speak to me, like if they speak to others, that's incredible. It's just a bonus, honestly.
It really is.
Yeah, I'm really at a point right now, man, that I'm writing songs for me, and it feels good. It feels so good.
Like the bullshit detectors of an audience, they are red hot. And if you are not authentically presenting yourself, but writing, like say, I like the way you said, I'm not writing songs about the farm I don't have. It's not like, oh, I'm not writing insert country song theme here. It's like, I know what the themes are, but I'm writing about things that apply to me. If they happen to apply to that, that's awesome.
I think that's the good thing about, some people don't like it, but I think it's the good thing about country music right now is it's becoming more accessible to a broader audience because it's more than just that. Like, there's country love songs now, and love songs are universal, man. It's what you were saying before. Like, everyone writes about love.
Exactly.
Love's universal. Everyone feels it.
And everyone's had a different experience, but everyone can sort of find something
absolutely.
in there.
Yeah, man. So that's where I'm at. Like, I'm just writing songs that make me happy, and they do make me happy, and it's really good.
Yeah. So where are you going on? Like, where's somewhere that you haven't been that you're going on the tour that you're really pumped for?
Playing in Bathurst.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. which is, a scary time. I think we sold like 6 tickets.
Go on, Bathurst. They're not flying out their door.
So if anyone in Bathurst,
walking out the door.
If you like Austin Mackay or supercars, please come along to the show.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, we're playing in Bathurst for the first time. And there's a couple other places. I'm playing at Ulladulla for the first time, which is South Coast, New South Wales. And then, other than that, it's kind of, I'm going back to a couple of regional places that I did on Coxie's tour, like Bendigo, Ballarat, Darwin, Geelong, places like that.
Okay.
So it's cool. It's going to be fun.
So are you driving the whole thing? Are you even driving up to the top? Or
no, I'm flying to Darwin.
Okay,
just because it's one show, it's kind of.
Oh, okay, no, that would be that would be. There's taking time for yourself, but then there's I got to book off 6 weeks just so I can get to Darwin
for sure.
and back.
Yeah, if I was taking time to get up to Darwin and back, I'd be up for the rest of the year probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, so I've got this show July 12th, July 15th. October 7.
It's a long tour.
Like you said, that it's a reset and it's a chance for you to focus on your stuff. Is what's happening outside of the tour for you, music wise? You touched on that you took that break at the beginning of the year. You want to go into that a bit more,
Yeah, sure. I mean, at the moment, I'm kind of outside of touring. I'm just writing music and co-writing with as many people as possible.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. Even if it's not with people that I know, just artists that are keen to write. I've written with a bunch of artists that I've never even met before the session, and it's really fun.
Yeah,
it's cool. We challenge each other, and I always say that it's very interesting to see two people in a room that see melody and rhythm and rhyme so differently.
Yeah,
but if you can make it work, it's magic. Yeah. If you can't make it work, it's total dog shit. So it's it's trying to.
It's the gamble of music. Yeah. That's half the fun.
Yeah, exactly. But man, other than that, I took 6 months off at the start of this year. I was playing a lot of shows, and I found I was at a point where I was almost not necessarily losing my love for music, but I was forgetting why I started in the first place. I've it's an effect of seeing so many people around me and do so well. And, I feel like I'm, as I said before, work very hard. And sometimes I just feel like I'm beating my head against a brick wall. And it's in a way that, you feel like you wake up every day and work so hard at something and it's not necessarily being noticed or it's not growing. And sometimes you're like, why can't I break this ceiling? And I was like that for a long time. And the tour towards the end of last year, I was playing shows and they were so much fun. But outside of the shows, I had no spark. I had no motivation to pick up a guitar or play music. And I was like, why am I what's happening? And I sort of, I thought to myself, at the end of the year after I played the last show, because that was the thing that was keeping music in my life at the time, were those shows. And then outside of that, I was scared that I was, almost going to lose it altogether. And obviously I know I would never fully lose music. I physically couldn't.
No, yeah.
But at that time I was having my doubts of, where my head was at. And I think mental health was a big thing for me at the time. I felt like I was, playing music because I had to keep pushing this thing because if I go away, I'm just gonna get forgotten about.
Yeah, everyone's gonna forget you. Yeah,
which is so not true. And I decided I was for me, I'm gonna take 6 months off, and I hadn't spent a long amount of time back home in Newcastle in probably 3 or 4 years, because during the COVID pandemic, I was sort of living out of my van and bouncing between states.
Where possible,
wherever I could get shows, man, wherever I could make money. And getting back home and just, immersing myself in time with my family and my mates back home that I went to high school with that I don't really get to see all that often. And, I went and I've got a job. I'm a fencer. I'm a fencer. I got a real job, man. Yeah. I've been working in fencing and with a couple of mates that I went to school with and my mate's old man, and it's just a good crew. And it's kind of, they joke about that job sort of, keeping me in touch with reality. They're every time, my boss back at work goes, oh, he's a muso. We just try to keep his feet on the ground a little bit, trying to keep his head out the clouds.
I don't even get too big for us, mate. Don't forget about us, mate.
Yeah. But it's kind of true that it's, it's really, I feel like not just the job, but being at home and being back with my family and just, it's really grounded me again. And I feel at the moment I feel incredible. I feel so full of life and happy, and I've got that stoke and the fire back for music. And I think it's just because I took some time for me and just realized that if you're not feeling it, people notice. Man, I had people coming to shows and like, you know, people that had been to shows before, and they go, oh, are you doing all right tonight? Because, like, you know, you didn't seem as like energetic up there as you usually do, and that played in my head.
Yeah,
man.
when you get like, did someone who just paid to see a show almost like say that I was phoning it in? Like, I'm not saying that that's a derogatory thing.
Yeah,
they saw what they saw. If that's what they saw, then
it really made me think, man. Like there was a couple of times there where, you know, people are like, how you actually doing? And it, you know, I'd always answer at shows, oh, I'm good, but it made me think about it. I'm like, fuck, am I?
Yeah.
Like,
am I loving this as much as
and it's
I'm telling myself I am?
and as I said, like I wasn't really doing much outside of shows, and I was playing a lot of shows, like, you know, and doing a lot of kilometers, and yeah, it's just nice to, you know, immerse myself back in it, like that, what we were saying before, like that little kid who started and you know, that dream, that just wanting to, you know, just play music for the sake of playing music, not thinking about like where the next paycheck was coming from, or how I'm going to write the next song, sort of thing. I was just playing, like I was fucking in my bedroom playing Aerosmith covers and John Williamson covers, and it's like, you know, that's what I'm trying to get that back, and I think I do have that back at the moment, and I hope I can keep him.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had that.
He's in here.
Absolutely, he's in there. He's in there. I had that exact moment with. Not a couple of days ago, maybe like a week ago, I had this epiphany. I was chatting with one of my good mates, John, and we were talking about just that idea of being forgotten, and you got to be on it, and content, and because we're just about to release a record, and obviously with that comes the obligatory things, and how do we balance the art and me doing content and having to make shit up, but it's not making shit up, it's got to be authentic, it's got to be the business. But also, how do we get people to know we exist and that we're proud of this product? And I was like, I think between that, mixing the record, because I put it together, and doing this, which, mind you, I love, and I love these conversations, I believe that all those three things, content, mixing the record, and doing the podcast, were practicing drums. I'd gone, well, yeah, that's music, lots of music, super music heavy. I hear myself play drums all the time. Yeah, mixing something I did 3 weeks ago. I haven't practiced drums in 3 weeks. Yeah. And I'm like, I think this is where this sort of phoning it in, sort of, I'm working on it sort of attitude that was in here. I was like, I don't think I've actually played my instrument in 3 weeks. Yeah. You know, because there might not have been a show, or I went from a show back to the mixing and all these processes. I've had so much fun sitting down at this kit here and just playing. So, you know, Aaron will get home at around 5:45, whatever, between 4:30 and sort of now when it gets a little dark, I have a go. It doesn't make any noise. Crack. And I actually just fuck about. Yeah. And like I play things, and if I've got stuff to go through for the next show between the different bands, obviously it's on there, but I just have a fuck about and just enjoy playing my instrument.
It's okay. That's fucking great.
Yeah, and I've got so much of a love for it again. I'm like, fuck, I love that instrument. I'm like itching to get upstairs when I get home.
Well, I feel like you need to have fun with it, man. I'm at a point where like I'm having so much fun, and like, you know, even on stage when I'm playing shows, I'm having so much fun. Yeah. Like I'm taking time before shows now to like really sit and think about it and be like, okay, you know, there's 50, 100 people here tonight. Come hear you play your songs. I'm like, that's fucking epic.
What can
and then I walk out there and I'm like, best. You know, I think if I'm consciously taking time to think about that, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna have a good show, and I put that into my head before that. I'm like, you're gonna have a good show, you're gonna have fun up there, and you know, even if my voice isn't 100% or if my guitar playing is not to like the best of my ability, like you're gonna have fun. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing for me at the moment is having fun, and with writing music, with recording, with playing music, with touring, but like, you know, it's fun, and I think it's got to be. Yeah, you're the one that's got to do it every single night.
Literally, if you're like both for your own sanity, because you've got to be driving from place to place, doing it all the time. But you know, you play 27 shows, 27 people in the room have one show. Yeah. So
that's a good way to put it.
Exactly, I'm delivering that show. It's like I want to deliver that show for you. That's fucking sick. That you just absolutely you find it electric, and I'm vibing off how electric you think it is. Because I'm enjoying myself too. I can't phone that in. You can't phone that in.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, from what I was saying before about people coming up to me at shows, like, you know, in the past couple of years and being like, are you all right? I feel like if someone said that to me now, I'd be like, are you blind?
Were you
kidding? I'm having so much fun up there.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And
I'm the guy from up there. I'm the guy up on stage. Yeah.
I can't wipe the smile off my face at the moment when I'm playing music. And the past 3 days with my mates out at Mulaney, like, the whole time we were just cracking up, and it was so funny, and like we were having the best time and just writing music, and that was a bonus, getting songs out of it. I said to them, I was like, man, if we just got to hang out for 3 days, which we don't usually get to do, and we got no songs out of it, and we just played a couple of covers, like I would have been so happy with that.
Yeah, there was no expectation.
There was no expectation, and that is the biggest thing, man, that like I've realized over the past couple of years is like, you set yourself you can have dreams and you can have goals, but like you set yourself no expectation and you can't be disappointed. And like people always ask me, they're like, oh, how far do you want to take this thing? Like how far do you really want to go with music? And I'm like, I am going to take it as far as it's going to take me. Like, you know, I'd obviously love to get to a point where I'm playing arenas or stadiums and stuff, but you know, I don't have an expectation that I'm going to get there. Like I have dreams that I'm going to get there, but I don't expect myself to get there. You know, it's a different thing.
Yeah,
like
and also having mentors, like from an external point of view, you have pragmatic and aspirational mentors. You know, when it comes
I'm going to pretend like I know what those 2 words mean. I have no fucking idea.
Well, for the audio listeners and maybe you, basically, the way it sort of works out in definition wise practically is like, for instance, in a social media setting, you've got, you know, Gary V or someone like that, and they've got a bajillion followers, and they're like, you know, get up at 7 minutes past 3 in the morning and make 27 TikToks. And it's like, cool, well, that it works for you. You could post a picture of an egg and you'd get 1 million likes in 7 minutes.
Yep.
What you're doing, we're not at that level.
No.
But then someone who, you know, for instance, I see the content you put out when you do your, you know, pre-show runs, like even just State of Origin weekend you put up about in your blue jersey, super stoked to be up on the Gold Coast soon. You know, just have a bit of fun about and stuff. That is like, I like how he did that, how he shot that, the captions that were on there, because we're at a level where I can look at you and go, pragmatically, he's doing something right that I could look at implementing.
Sure.
Aspirational, some guy's got 10 million followers. I love what you do, but we're not there. We're not even in the ballpark. I'm at step 10, you're at step 20, he's at step 1,000.
Yeah.
And that's important to have both. Yeah. So you have goals and dreams and things like that and what you want to do, and you have your bigger picture dreams and things, but it should never just be a Med Sheeran or a failed. Yeah,
exactly, man, because, you know, I've always thought about that. I'm like, you know, if I'm comparing myself to someone like Justin Bieber who blew up and exploded when he was, 14, 15, I failed.
Yeah, exactly.
Never gonna get there.
Shit, I got way more summers on here, my phone.
And like a lot of me doesn't, like, I don't want that. I really don't want to be that famous.
No, because
like it would suck. Imagine not being able to walk down the street or go to the shops or go out with your mates. Like, how shit would that be?
But it's so true though. It's like, I remember this funny thing that I put in an episode with someone else last season, and they were talking about this comedian who says, imagine being Coldplay's drummer because you can walk down the street and no one knows who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
But you're playing, like, they were playing like the original Athens Olympic Stadium in Athens to everyone in Greece. Yeah. And then he just puts on a different t-shirt and sunnies and goes and buys some milk.
Or like Marshmallow, the DJ.
Yeah.
Like huge, but like without the mask, he can just be him.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't really researched into if people do know who's behind the mask.
But I don't.
But yeah,
I don't know. I'm really well known.
Anyway, this is a little bit left of field. Sorry about bringing marshmallows into this.
I'm surprised you put extra bourbon in there. But I thought you was gonna have water in there. But okay, sure, you're kicking it off. But, no, I get that. It's so true though, because with everything there is a positive, except laughter and joy.
Yeah.
There's like a positive and negative byproducts. Like you want to be really famous, but it's like. Yeah, but you ain't just walking down the shops to get some milk.
Yeah.
You want to have these, you know, playing all these shows and really getting out there. You have to sleep.
Yeah.
You have to drive there. You have to have the quality in between. And I like that you found that balance.
Yeah, man.
And
that's what it's about.
you can see it all over your face that you found that balance, more than just your words. And that speaks volumes, especially for musos that are feeling like I need to do lots of shows or I've been told that the music scene died last week. What do I do now? There's an opportunity to reset, but there's also equally that yearning to be part of that experience.
Exactly, man. And I think it's we're in a weird time.
It is
like
weird.
It's a weird time to be a musician. It's a weird time to be human. But it's like, you know, with all the stuff that's going on in social media, it's hard. Like sometimes what you said before, like people can post a photo of an egg and get 1 million likes, and you know, I feel like I'm putting up pretty good content, and sometimes 100 people see it, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what is actually going on here? But it's like, you know, I feel like sometimes you're fighting algorithms, and you just got to you got to get back to the point where, like, as I said, man, I'm making music for me, and you know, if people hear it, that's a bonus. Like, obviously, I'm you know, you got to make money.
Of course,
like I want to make a living out of this thing, but like,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm happy doing me, and you know, and it seems to be working in a way that I didn't think it would work. Like, you know, I think people can really see it, which is cool, and people can feel it through the songs.
I'm stoked that, like, we talked about teeing this up ages back, and you're like, no, when I'm up here, and then when I saw you up here, I was like, I'm going to grab 7 minutes of his time in between shows. But I love where you're at, and to be at the start of this tour, and for everyone listening and watching that's in a place that you're going, I'll put up the tour poster because I'm not going to make you remember them all. But for wherever you are now, sort of thing, get amongst it, because Oscar puts on a great show, and the songs are great stories, but more than that, he's having a fucking good time.
I'm happy.
Good time.
Yeah.
So go and be part of that good time. So to sort of finish off, tell the lovely people, where can they find you? Where can they, go buy tickets?
Yeah, so you can buy tickets for my shows. I've got 15 shows left in Queensland, Northern Territory, New South Wales and Victoria. You can get tickets at www.austinmackaymusic.com/tour. Wow, I've really rehearsed that, haven't I?
Nice. Sweet. Do it.
And yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Austin Mackay Music, and then just Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music under Austin Mackay.
Man, do you want to do the outro? You've nailed that.
Dude, yeah, there you go.
Well, yes. No, it was fantastic to catch up with you, and I'm looking forward to hearing what comes next. I know there's new things in the works, and all the things you've written this past week. It's exciting. It is. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
And as I said, you got to get to a show if you're nearby. If you haven't missed it, you got to get to a show, and see the lovely man do his thing. So. You know where to find these ones, guys. As he much betterly said and put, a fucking bollocks that, haven't I? No, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places that you can go and see Austin Mackay and listen to Austin Mackay's music. Make sure you do that. Make sure you say it's Mackay, not Mackay, or Mickey, or
if you type Mackay into the search bar, it's not going to come up.
It actually doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, someone will come to your house. But you know where to find these guys every Tuesday. Find me on Instagram as well, baileydrummer. If you didn't know where all the clips were, all these little fun tidbits that we talk about. And until next time, I'll see you later.